What up guys, Gozen here for AnimeUproar, and today I want to take a close look at the story behind Bon's sacred treasure, the Holy Staff Courechouse, and explain all of its unique abilities. I did a sacred treasure video in the past where I explained all of their powers, but now we have way more information about Bon's sacred treasure, so I wanted to supplement that video with this one. If you enjoy seeing 7 Deadly Sins videos on this channel, make sure to smash that like button to let me know. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is very important, ring that notification bell so you actually get notified when we publish new videos. You can always find extra 7 Deadly Sins content and crucial updates on our Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar, and you can find exclusive, original 7 Deadly Sins inspired merch at AnimeUproar.com. Shirts like Meliodas Feel the Wrath, Escanor Praise the Sun, Escanor All Hail the One, and Bon Love the Pain. If I had to choose just one, I'd probably say that Bon Love the Pain is my favorite. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments. Definitely check those out if you want to look epic and support the channel at the same time. Link in the description. A quick warning, there will be manga spoilers in this video. Now without further ado, let's jump into it. The sacred treasures were given to the 7 Deadly Sins by the King of Leones when the group was formed. Bon's sacred treasure is called Courechouse, which was also the name of King Bon's sword in Arthurian legend. Harlequin is shocked to find out that Meliodas, Bon, and Diane would allow themselves to lose their sacred treasures. That's how important they are. Not only are they extremely valuable in a monetary sense, which they are because they are all worth more than 100,000 gold coins, they're even more valuable as weapons because they can fully take advantage and amplify the user's original power. In order to illustrate this point, King asks everyone to imagine that the lake in front of them represented the magical powers of one of the 7 Deadly Sins. He scoops a handful of water and says that that is how much magic can be used without a sacred treasure. He says with a weapon, they can extract as much as a mug. And with a sacred treasure, and this is the craziest, they can draw as much power as a house. According to King, they could call forth an incredible amount of magic power compared to now if they had their sacred treasures. The difference between a handful and a house is pretty huge, so sacred treasures are hyped up from the beginning, especially Bon's. Bon doesn't have his sacred treasure because he says it was stolen when he was thrown in jail, but he agrees with Hawk that King should stop getting bent out of shape over weapons. He appears to say that a sacred treasure would probably make a difference for him, but for these guys, meaning Meliodas and Diane, they do just fine barehanded. Right away, Bon sets himself up as someone who would benefit more than others from his sacred treasure. The sacred treasure is hyped up even more because of the fact that it takes so long to make its appearance. It is the last sacred treasure to be introduced. Before, in an interview, 7 Deadly Sins creator Nakaba Suzuki has said that he likes waiting to introduce really strong characters later on in the story, which is one of the reasons he waited so long to introduce Escanor. This makes sense because Escanor would have completely messed up the first season by easily defeating every opponent. Nakaba had to wait until the opponents got a good deal stronger so he could keep things interesting. He probably kept Bon's sacred treasure until last for the same reason. We did get a glimpse at Courechouse in episode 1 of the anime where we were passingly shown Bon in his armor holding it, but we didn't get much else for a long time. It is a fancy 4-section staff connected by chains. It is not to be mistaken with the 3-section plain one he uses to fight with during other points in the show. He uses this 3-sectioned weapon like nunchucks, and it seems to increase the range of his snatch ability as well. This is just a regular weapon though, so as King said, it just lets him use a cup full of power rather than a handful, but definitely not a house full of power. In fact, the regular weapon has no special abilities, which is what sacred treasures are known for. It is not until chapter 315 that the final sacred treasure is truly introduced in the manga. At this point in the manga, Bon was pretty much the strongest Sin besides Meliodas. He was the only one who could go blow for blow with the Demon King in Meliodas' body long enough to help defeat him. Mael with Sunshine and King, who had admittedly used up most of his power, couldn't even land a shot on the Demon King. The crazy power boost happened when Ban was in purgatory and he endured over 1,000 years of being frozen, burned, and poisoned. His body built a huge tolerance for damage so that even when he lost his immortality, he was stronger than ever. It was like training in a way more extreme version of the hyperbolic time chamber from Dragon Ball Z. Thus, when the Sins are fighting the Endura, Ban is already one of the most powerful characters in the series, and that's when Merlin tells Ban, "Use this. With your current capabilities, you should be able to draw an even greater power than ever before." End quote. Then she makes the holy staff Courechouse appear above him. So obviously, the big question is, why didn't Merlin give him his sacred treasure before when he was fighting the Demon King? Perhaps she believed he could handle it without the sacred treasure, or she thought it wouldn't make much of a difference in that context since he couldn't kill Meliodas' body anyways. Or she just forgot, like when she forgot that she was immune to the commandments. We can't be totally sure, but please let me know why you think she waited in the comments. I'd be very curious to hear your opinion about this. Anyways, in this context, Ban's sacred treasure was perfect. There were a bunch of young Endura released by the big Endura they were fighting, and they needed to defeat the countless baby Enduras before they escaped because that would lead to chaos and destruction all around the world. And at this point, we finally figure out Ban's sacred treasure's unique abilities. Merlin explains, more so than any of the other sacred treasures, it's capable of being able to freely make attacks at irregular speeds, angles, and distances at will. And with Ban's current strength wielding it, he should be able to manifest absolute range, speed, and force. But the nail in the coffin is the power that is able to push all of those to their maximum level. Courechouse, special trait super concentration. End quote. So not only does the sacred treasure have insane power, speed, and reach, it also has the highest level of accuracy thanks to its ability super concentration. Ban manages to kill all of the baby Enduras but one, which is insane because there were so many, and some made it all the way to distant villages. His move is written in the Japanese as Swath of the Death God, and we are told that Ban has gone far beyond the human level. Thus, with his sacred treasure, Ban has godlike power. According to Gother, in an instant, thousands of Endura vanished, and keep in mind, they were each strong. It took Mael with Sunshine to stop the one that got away. Gil Thunder, No Sunshine Escanor, and other holy knights were completely powerless against just one. Then, the Sins turn to the big boss Endura, and Ban uses his sacred treasure to attack it. We figure out in chapter 320 that the Sins have slayed the Endura with relative ease. They don't seem to have a scratch on them, and they've come to help defeat the Demon King. Since Ban used the sacred treasure to attack the big boss Endura, we can assume that Courechouse isn't just useful when you have many enemies. It can be just as useful for one strong enemy. Keep in mind, this Endura that the Demon King summoned was not a regular Endura, but an Endura of Favor. The Endura of Favor, we are told, are reincarnated from the 10 Commandments who were loyal and devoted to the Demon King. Their strength is exceedingly massive, and thus it is said their power levels are far greater than the other Endura. So all Endura have legendary power, and this one stands at the top of all Endura, and yet, as I mentioned, the Sins beat it and all of its children with relative ease, mostly thanks to Ban and his sacred treasure. Hence, Courechouse seems to easily be one of the strongest treasures in the series. Even without it, Ban was the only one able to put up a good fight against the Demon King and Meliodas' body, and the treasure serves to fully draw out all of his new power. It raises his physical and mental capabilities to their maximum level, letting him achieve a godlike level of power. Knowing Nakaba Suzuki and how he likes to wait to introduce strong things for last, it definitely makes sense why he chose to introduce Courechouse last. And it was definitely worth the wait. If Ban really was able to only draw upon a handful of power when he fought the Demon King before, then I'd love to see how much he can do with his sacred treasure, which should, in theory, let him draw out all of his new power. And it's notable that we still haven't seen him get pushed to go all out with the power boost it gives him. Ban has definitely come a long way from being one of the weakest Sins who couldn't even protect his best friend or love interest earlier on in the series. I would also love to see another friendly match between Meliodas and Ban at some point. kind of how we got to see Meliodas in Assault mode go up against the one Escanor. We better get that battle when all this Demon King drama comes to an end. But for the time being, that is it for today's video. Let me know if you want to see videos like this one done for some of the other sacred treasures. King's Sacred Treasure Spirit Spear Chastiful is definitely powerful, versatile, and interesting enough to justify its own video. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar so you don't miss crucial 7 Deadly Sins updates. Also, if you love the 7 Deadly Sins and want to support more content on this channel at the same time, you should check out our anime-inspired shirts at AnimeUproar.com. There's a very wide selection of 7 Deadly Sins shirts, including Meliodas Feel the Wrath, Escanor Praise the Sun, Escanor All Hail the One, and Bon Love the Pain. I love these shirts and I think they're perfect for any 7 Deadly Sins fan, so definitely check them out at AnimeUproar.com, link in the description. A big thank you goes out to our patrons over on Patreon who help make videos like this one possible. I especially want to thank our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, and Angel Cruz. And are the 1 tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans, Baby Ray, A17 FFDP, Steven Ingrata, Alolon Autem, Matty Mac 239, Makoto Kun, and Keelan. And the patrons who transcend greatness itself, Reagan Harrison and Lord Nuxanor, the chosen few who have been acknowledged by Lord Twigo himself. If you enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these amazing friends right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. Anyways, thanks again for all of your support in whatever form it takes. Remember to love the pain, and until next time, see you, Space Cowboys.